These are the things that made a massive difference in how much people respected me. You might be wondering, who am I? Well, I actually spent like 4 years trying to be more of a respected guy. And I had a lot of different phases throughout these 4 years. But I finally got to the point where my friends treat me really well. I feel like I'm part of the group. Everywhere I go, people show me with like quite a high level of respect. And there's some really important things that I have to teach you here. The first thing is, I remember this guy who I met. It's funny because I'm actually hanging out with him today, which shows like how far I've come in a sense. The fact that I used to look up to this guy a lot. I remember one time I went to I was closer friends with his mate. So there was these two guys. I went to the park with them one day, and we're having a laugh. We're having a chat about some stuff. And I remember I just heard all these stories about like things that were going on. They had so much to discuss with each other. They were like they had all these cool stories. They met this girl, or what that girl, like that crazy thing happened there, and they had all these great stories that they were talking about. And a bit of time went by until like the next time I saw them, and it was another like basically every Saturday there would be a massive group of people where I would go out with, and I was fitting into that group. I was that age. There was a lot of people who were trying to get out there and like, meet some new people. But this guy was genuinely like dominating, bro. Like, like it's kind of fucking weird that I remember it that way, but it's just true. Like all the girls were into him. He was so like everybody loved being around him. And then when there was this new group of people, he was also always invited to like come hang out with them. And I just always looked up to this guy. I always thought of him as like, somebody who found his way to like the party and was having a good time. Well, like he was in really good shape and he was like good at rugby, and I really respected him. And so I wanted to. I realized like he has a specific energy that people love being around, and I want to be able to explain that to you a bit. It's hard though, and it will take time. But I have one massive thing that will help you with that. I remember the first time I went to one of these big meetups, which would like I didn't know it was going to be this big, but there was like over 100 people, maybe even 150, 200, and it was all at this one beach, and it was a very chill, anyone rock up kind of vibe. And I got there, but the thing is, before I got there, I was scrolling on Reels for like the whole day. I was bored. This was like the only thing I was looking forward to doing my day. And I think that that made a really, like, genuinely a big impact. Obviously, it's not like some days I just genuinely take it off, like, off everything, like work, off all productivity. And all I do is just hang out with my boys from the start of the day to the end of the day. But the days that I don't enjoy are the ones where I wake up and I have nothing to. It's a day off, but I also have nothing to do. If I wake up at 12 and I have nothing to do until like 8 p.m. until my friends are going out, I'm bored as fuck until 8 p.m. unless I'm working on something productive. And so that's for me. I think this is a really important lesson to you. You don't want to be that guy who you've come to the party and you've done nothing all day. Like I don't want to be another one of those guys saying, "Oh, self improvement, that will like change your life and then you'll be more social," because that's not actually how it works. Being social and self improvement are actually like two quite separate things in my opinion. But I can tell you for a fact, there's a specific energy you get into when you haven't moved all day, but you have energy. And I don't know if everybody is like me in this front, where if you're in bed all day and you haven't been doing any exercise, you've been lying down, you start to get really fucking irritated in your own skin. Like you fucking it's the worst feeling if you haven't been using your mind or if you haven't done any exercise. I'm telling you, bro, it makes such a fucking big difference when you go out in that mood versus like yeah, I'm sure that if once you get to the point where you're very social and you go out and you're in an irritated mood, you can like quickly transition into it. But when we're first getting started, everything like matters a lot more. And when I went out, when I went out after being in that irritated mood, it was really hard for me to bring that like really good social energy because the back of my mind, I was still like, I was just on the dopamine low. I was like a bit uncomfortable. I mean, obviously, it was my first party that I'd gone to, which is a massive fucking factor. But on top of that, I didn't feel that good in myself that day either. And I wasn't with any of my closest mates. Like, even compared to like one or two other parties that I went to, when I was still like the same level of awkwardness, the day that I had spent with like my friend 4 or 5 hours, maybe 8 hours before going, and we were going around, had like doing a lot of fun things, and then we went out that night. Those nights were so much more fun. I could have so much more conversation. So I do think it's a big difference when you've done some good shit in your day. You know, you've gone to the gym, or you've like you work on something, or you play chess, or you work in a job. I don't give a fuck what it is. Like, you do your own thing, man. I'm not a life coach, but I'll tell you for a fact, if you've just had a whole day and if you don't, like, I mean, it might be different for a few people. Some people might love to sit there and scroll for like 30 hours. That's just not me. Like, I get sick of it after a few hours. Even though I keep wanting to scroll, I still like, I just feel shit doing it. So if you're similar to me, then make sure you find something to do to fill up your days. Even if it's simple, just make sure it's something that's like enjoyable for you. You know, you maybe like boxing and you go do that. And the last thing is like, yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get too deep into this, but on the day that I went to this concert, like before I'd gone, I'd done a bunch of uploads, and then I was there with my friends for like the next 2, 3 days. That's basically all that took up my mental space. And it was fun as shit, bro. It was so much fun. I had a great time. And I do think that getting off that like that productive stuff, doing all like the hard shit that's on the back of your mind so that you can really let go for a weekend is pretty fucking goated feeling. Now, I remember what, like, I was the kind of person who was always disrespected. I mean, you can see me on the far right of this photo. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm pretty, like, in good shape. So, obviously, it doesn't happen to me quite as much anymore because of those reasons, which is important. You know, you want to get in a good shape. If you're super successful, the people who disrespect you will be much less. And there's an exception, but I'm going to share it with you with that in the last slide. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're still interested in the content I'm sharing, subscribe. But anyways, the point that I'm making here is I remember I would every lunchtime, so there was a bunch of boys who went to like the sport hall, and for a time, like until a point that everybody went to the sports hall and they didn't really do much. And some people eventually some people started like playing basketball, but until that point, there was this one group of guys who would, they would walk around the school and they would be speaking to everybody. And I always like just ended up around that area. You know, I was friends with some of them, but they weren't really, they didn't give a shit about me. They were in their own friend group. I was kind of just like not close with any of them, and I wasn't close with anyone outside of the group either. And I don't know why I was hanging around them so much. I was just trying to be cool or whatever, and just putting myself in that environment where they're all talking, that set me up for failure because they already like felt like I was lurking a bit, like following them around when we weren't best mates or anything. And that made it really easy for them to say shit like, oh, you're fat, and make fun of me and like make all these jokes about me. So I'm telling you, one of the first things, if you don't want to be disrespected, just dip for a bit. Every time you get disrespected, I promise you this is value add. Every time you get disrespected by a certain few people, just like pull away from them. Like, don't be nice to them. Don't say hi to them for a little while. If they say hi to you, just like give it like a silent nod so they know. Like, just pull away. Don't give them attention. And then if they ask you, oh, yo, why are you being so distant? Just say, yeah, bro, you're being disrespectful. Well, you probably shouldn't do it like that. But like, no, yeah, it's hard to say exactly. Like, use your own social intuition in this situation. But I think when someone's disrespecting you, you 100% need to take some space from them. And on top of that, I was in not good shape, and I was very short at this time also before I hit my growth spurt. Obviously my growth spurt and like starting to go for runs and eat clean. Obviously that helped me a lot, but then when I got to being skinny, it's still like it didn't go away because I was still like super fucking skinny. But it got so much better, and then like I started to have good friends in school and I didn't have the same experience. So honestly, if you're super fat, it's just like then you're pretty much bound to get like disrespected when you're young. It just happens because younger guys are just kind of cunts, and it's kind of fair, I mean, it's not fair. It's not something that I totally agree with, but I think that it's just the way that everyone treats you, Like, I don't care if anyone says, oh, that's not right. Well, it fucking happens. So, if it's happening, then might as well just like remove yourself from the problem and get in a better shape. So you might be wondering here, this is interesting. I genuinely think female friends is an amazing thing to do, like to spend time with. Like a lot of not to do like a lot of people will write off female friends, and I totally get that. I'm gonna explain why it can be a fucking massive waste of time if you go about this the wrong way. But I remember like maybe a year ago, I was trying to get in this club, and as I wasn't being allowed in and I didn't have enough money to pay for it. But this girl was saying, no, 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 he's with me, let him in, like blah blah blah. Look, I know that this doesn't exactly happen in Western countries very often, but obviously where I am from in Hong Kong, like that is a very common culture here. The thing is, that is just like a representation of the kind of value that girls will bring you. Like, for example, if she was like, since we were genuinely really good friends, since whenever she's doing something, she would say, "Oh, I'm here with my friend. Oh, come hang out." I would hang out with her for a lot, and I would genuinely have like a good time, all like quite often. So, the point that I want to make here is, okay, I want to say one more thing. Imagine the guy who walks into a party with like five girls. If that guy wasn't gay, then every guy would think, "Oh, that guy's gay." But if he wasn't, he would just seem like the sickest dude ever. You know, he knows all these girls. And it's not in a weird way, it's just in a normal way where he's like actually being a friendly guy and he's friends with them. And he goes into a party, and when he does that, then all of a sudden other girls will be introducing him. He's like fun to be around so he can talk to people. I'm telling you, bro, it's a great shout to be close friends with a lot of girls. I promise you. The thing is, there's two girls who I was really close with, just as close as this other one. But the thing is, one of them, I liked them, and a different one, they liked me. And yeah, it was just a whole fuck situation. And I was gonna get deep into it, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think there's any need, bro. Basically, one of them, there was like genuinely something there. And then the other one, oh yeah, there was genuinely something there, and I never made a move when I should have just used my fucking brain. And like, the signs were so obvious. We were hanging out, and yeah, like it was just fucking obvious. But also the other girl who I genuinely became friends with, I don't know if she ever liked me. She might have, but the thing is, after calling her for a while, she became my best friend. And then I told her I liked her, and she dogged me in. Like, pulled a really dog move and stopped speaking to me. But I think that was a lesson that I learned. Like, girls aren't really that loyal. Like guys aren't that loyal as well if it comes down to it. But like in this situation where you end up having a crush on a girl, a lot of them get like really weirded out. Or if their boyfriend says, "Oh, I don't like you hanging out with them," then you're gone. Like girls will never have as much loyalty to you as your closest male friends. But that doesn't mean it's a waste of time, bro. Like you should be hanging out with girls. It's a good thing to do. It's if you can't speak to girls genuinely as like friends, every now and then, or even just like, if you can't, for example, if your mom has a friend over and you need to have like a conversation, you don't need to be best mates, but you need to have like some basic social skills to like speak to people and make friends if you're in new places. So honestly, bro. Oh yeah, and on top of that, like they're just. I would tell you some stories of like female friends not being as loyal as male friends, but I just don't need to, bro. Like it's just unnecessary. You get the memo. They're not going to be as loyal because of like this gender barrier as well. Whereas your male friends, every friendship is going to have barriers, but you don't need the fucking gender barrier on top of it unless you're like very similar. And I think that there's some genuinely good people, but I'm telling you, bro, good people and bad people aside from that, like, okay, how do I explain this? There's a lot more good. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna move on from this point. Now, the last thing that I have to say is you don't want to get to the point where you're only friends with girls and you can't like get any like meet any girls that you're interested in. The thing is, bro, just when you're friends with a girl, you need to know like, okay, yeah, we're friends. It's pretty rare that you're friends with a girl and then they also like you later down the line. It doesn't happen nearly as much as you think. I don't know if it's just like being a friendly guy just turns them off sometimes or being like really good friends, but like girls genuinely believe in fully platonic friendships and like they're not gonna have a crush on you if they're already friends with you like 90% of the time. Just keep it in mind, and I mean, fucking go for it if you want. If you like a girl, you should go for it. The thing is, I just had some really bad experiences of doing that and girls like telling everybody, and it was kind of embarrassing. But like nowadays, I think when you're a little bit older and you're genuinely more of an attractive guy, you already have like a good dating life. Or for example, like you genuinely have good experiences with like girls. Then when you're that kind of guy who like you admit to a friend like you really like them, then it goes a lot better. But I just think it never really works, and you should prioritize your female friends and not like try and push anything there. And the last thing is, bro, I'm going to the boxing gym. Wait, is this the last thing? Oh, okay. There's one more thing that is really fucking important. But even right now, like, I think I'm in better shape than that. I mean, I put on a lot of muscle recently. I got to lean down again. But I've been boxing Monday to Friday, and I still made time to go to the gym on Saturday when I was so fucking exhausted. Like, I was literally like verge of not verge of death, but I felt fucking like, tired, bro. I literally slept 13 hours last night. I was fucking exhausted, and I'm still finding time to lift once a week. So like, why would you not be lifting? I could not understand anybody who doesn't lift. Like, why? Why wouldn't you lift? It takes up. You can just go for half an hour twice a week or something, and even if you just do a few hard sets, you're gonna look way better. Your whole life will get better. If you're a pro athlete, like, fuck, I get it, but like, you're losing so much value. I mean, there's not many sports that you shouldn't be lifting for. Like even basketball, you should be like lifting. Every basketball player should be in the weights gym. Most athletes should be in the weights gym. But yeah, that's all I have to say, mate. Why the fuck are you not lifting if you're not lifting? And the last thing is, bro, I remember this one time. We had this friend who grew facial hair early, so we started calling him Harry McClary. And one day he came up to me, he's like, man, that's like, that really bothers me when you say that. And in my mind, I said to him, I was like, oh, really? Like, oh, sorry, bro. But like in my mind, I was like, nah, this guy's being a bit of a bitch. Like, he's being a fucking pussy. But then I remember the next time I did it, he gave me this dirty look. He was like disappointed in me. Like, we were friends. The other guys were doing it, but he looked at me. He was like, come on, man. Because we were actually good friends. And then a little bit later, he just stopped talking to me. He just didn't say hi. He wasn't friendly for a bit. So I went up to him one day and I was like, yo, bro, I'm really sorry for saying that to you. He's like, it's all right, bro. And he kind of forgave me. And he held his ground. He like took some genuinely distance from me. He didn't come up at me a day after me disrespecting him and saying something that he said really bothered him and say, he didn't come up to me and say, yo, what's up, Finn? Even though he was mad at me. Like, he just admitted, yeah, I'm mad at you. And he took some space away. And, maybe he was overreacting to this specific thing. But when your friend says, this really bothers me, stop saying it, bro. You don't know why it bothers you. You don't know if you're picking on somebody with an insecurity. If they brought up the courage to fucking tell you something like that and you still push, you still make fun of them with the same joke, you're being a fucking cunt, bro. You're being a fucking shit human being, alright? So, genuinely, every other person feels the same way. Use this tactic when somebody's doing something dog to you. It works every time because nobody's ever gonna like push it too far. If you take the space away and they realize like, oh, I'm being a dickhead, then and if they keep going, it has happened a few times, but if they still keep going when you do this tactic, then they're the cunt. You know what I mean? Like that's the outlier that they're being a fucking asshole. And then you gotta deal with assholes differently to your friends. So yeah, like this is definitely not a video for that. But yeah, never let anybody fucking bully you at school or like run you over without you standing up for yourself. Because once you do it once, it just keeps happening more and more. And this is easier to do once you have friends who already respect you. You have like, oh, this is what good friendship is supposed to be like. So you don't let anything beneath that slide. The last thing though is just don't be a fucking like tight ass. He was being a bit of a tight ass about the fucking like the joke we were making. It wasn't that deep in hindsight, but like to him it was deep and that's all that mattered, and you need to know this technique, and I do it a lot. It always works, and it's especially important when something actually bothers you. You shouldn't be like, if somebody says, oi, what's up, cunt, you shouldn't be like, oi, don't call me cunt, that really disrespects me. Have some fucking like logic. He's not being a dickhead to you, he's just saying a word that he says, you know what I mean? So don't overthink everything. Last thing is, bro, I wanted you to know that I've genuinely helped people. There's a call in the link in the description of somebody that I changed their social life entirely. I have a step-by-step guide on how to make better friends. And, like being respected comes along with when you make more friends. Like, and, if you're struggling to find friends who respect you, maybe just making new friends does the big difference. Anyways, the point is, my course, link in the description, Dream Social Life Program. If you're interested, to check it out. If not, subscribe and you can get the free information. Have a great day, bro.